Hi everybody, my name is Kathy Pat. I was born and raised in Arizona, but I'm currently living in Los Angeles. I'm studying at the University of Southern California. I'm a second-year student majoring in law, history, and culture with a minor in legal studies. I believe that Vietnamese Americans should be civically engaged because civic participation is essential. It allows for us to influence policy, local values, and local government priorities. And this in turn creates higher levels of trust as well as stronger and happier communities. We're able to create agency among residents and citizens who are often overlooked and underheard. We're able to act on the interests of the Vietnamese American community as well as our cultural values. For as long as I can remember, my dad has never missed an election, whether it be local or federal. And this is because he believes in the power of democracy, and this is something that has been instilled in me for as long as I can remember. It's no doubt that he is one of my biggest inspirations and why I'm so excited to be a part of this fellowship cohort. For the 2022 midterm elections, I believe that it's important for us to focus on preserving and expanding affordable healthcare coverage. I believe that everybody should have the right to healthcare, quality healthcare, regardless of their immigration status, and regardless of language, cultural barriers, and regardless of one's sexual orientation or gender identity. I believe that we should be working towards eliminating health disparities, and we should address the root causes of these disparities. I think it's important for us to preserve and expand access to voting rights, as well as to count Vietnamese Americans comprehensively, to ensure that the proper funds and resources are being allocated to the communities that need it the most. I am so excited to get to work, and while there may be a lot of work to be done, I believe that as young people we are the change, and I believe in the importance of continually advocating for the community and culture that has gotten me to where I am today. So thank you all so much for your time, and I am so excited to get to work.
Xin chào mọi người, mình tên là Celia, mình hiện tại đang làm việc tại tiểu bang Pennsylvania với tư cách là một Pivot Fellow cho APIPA Asian Pacific Islander Political Alliance. I believe that it's incredibly important for us to vote in this upcoming midterm election as historically marginalized communities in order to make sure our voices are heard and that we're represented through our elected officials. For me, the most important issues in this election is our community well-being, ending deportations, and climate mitigation. Thank you.
This is Kyle. I was born in California originally, but I was raised mostly in Arizona, and I work for ANAPI. I'm one of the canvassers. I've worked with them for a few months. It's AANHPI, Arizona, or Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders for Equity. I think it's important for Vietnamese Americans to vote this year, especially of late, as we've seen in this state of Arizona. We've had like a swing vote, so we're now a purple state, and I think locally we're able to break ground, especially within the Asian community. We've seen a lot of a raise in engagement, and we've seen more voters come out, and since 2010 we've had like a 50% increase in population in Arizona, so I think it's a good time for us to make a big difference in the community and know that our vote counts, and we can make a huge difference for sure.
I'm Nguyen, and I'm one of the Pivot Fellows in Texas. I'll be partnered up with ATJ, or Asian Texans for Justice, for these upcoming midterm elections. So a little bit about me is that I grew up in Dallas my whole life, more importantly a little suburb called Coppell, and I'm currently attending the University of Texas at Dallas, where I'm majoring in biology. I personally believe it's vital for Vietnamese Americans to become civically engaged, especially for these midterm elections, because we've seen just how harmful mis and disinformation has been to our community in the past. So by becoming involved in issues at a local level, we can then pinpoint fake news, spread good information, and most importantly promote a healthy democracy. I'm most passionate about addressing healthcare and education inequities, reproductive rights, and gun violence within Texas, all issues I find extremely pertinent for these midterm elections. I'm really excited to work and grow with Pivot and ATJ to hopefully serve my community.
Hi everyone, or chào anh chị em. My name is Nguyen and I'm based in Houston, Texas. Go Astros! And I am working with the partner organization Rise AAPI. So this year is a midterm election year, and we always get excited for the presidential elections that roll around every 4 years, but midterm elections are where almost pound for pound your vote goes further because so few people turn up. And also, it's because these midterm elections are about local politics, and those affect your everyday life. So, everything from public services to local infrastructure, these things are important for how you live your life. And that's why I think as Nguyen Vietnam, as a people, we really have the potential to push the needle in our local areas. For every vote or every conversation you have in your network, every door knock, if that's your thing, these are all powerful expressions of how you envision the future or how you think a better life could look like. I think as Nguyen Vietnam, sometimes we shy away from politics, but if you go to any Vietnamese gathering, you'll see in the corner, and if you listen closely, you'll see some uncles and they'll be talking about politics. Maybe not in a way that's familiar to you, or at least not to me, but they're talking about politics. And so that means we all have opinions. So this year, or always really, I am really keen and paying attention to immigration issues because of our histories as Nguyen Vietnam, and also because of the immigrant communities that are here in Houston, and I'm sure they exist also where you are. I'm also I'm very passionate about public education. I'm a child of public education, and I want that to remain intact for future generations. And then also, speaking of future generations, climate change. Houston is, our unofficial nickname is Disaster City, and that's both because of natural disasters, but also man-made. We are also a city that's really big on car culture. We have 8-lane highways. And, I think that's just unsustainable. And so climate change is also an existential threat. And so those are some of the things that I'm really passionate about this election cycle. And so, yeah, I am very excited to be involved in Pivot. I'm very excited to be a Pivot Elections Fellow. And yeah, I'm so excited to meet you all.